Let's talk about it right now. What is the Niners' biggest concern against Dallas?
Trayvon Diggs and Micah Parsons.
Yes, absolutely. Because you got,
and when I
I've
say
called.
that, people have to understand these two are not just a problem; they are game changers. Micah Parsons has completely altered the ego, the dynamic of the Dallas Cowboys. He has taken a weak defense and turned them into a swaggering defense that's
Yes.
self-confident, that
Yeah.
preys on the ball. They really read the quarterback's eyes well. Micah Parsons probably going to be a Hall of Famer if he stays healthy. He's that good.
Wow.
Trayvon Diggs is leading the NFL in interceptions. The Cowboys are leading the NFL in turnovers. The last time I looked, they had 31 turnovers. The odds of the Niners getting out of this game without giving up at least one are 0.
They have a really good pass rush too. It's not just Parsons; it's Randy Gregory.
Of course.
DeMarcus Lawrence. Like it's almost as good of a pass rush as the Niners, or just as good.
Yeah, I think it's almost as good as the Niners.
Yeah.
I don't think their rotational pieces are quite as good, but where they have an answer to Fred Warner, who plays the run really well, and that's Parsons. They have a much, much better secondary than us with a much, much, much better safety. It's a 5-star safety going up against 2.5 and 3-star safeties on our team. That's the difference between the two. No shade at Tart and Ward, but they are out of their league playing against Diggs.
So here's my thing.
Very
My biggest concern against
it's Jimmy Garoppolo I'm concerned with.
That's what I'm saying. Like my biggest concern here is, well, I'm going to go at it a different way, but end up at the same result. Dan Quinn is, I think, the Niners' biggest concern here, because the Cowboys have a great pass defense. They got the pass rusher, they got the cornerback, but the Niners want to run the ball. So you look at the Cowboys' run defense. Statistically, it's mediocre, but they got Dan Quinn, who knows Kyle, knows his run game. You know, that was Kyle, he was his underling. That Kyle was his offensive coordinator. So the last time they faced each other in 2019, when Quinn was still in Atlanta, they really shut down Mostert shut him down and won. That's a big way. I mean, they put the game in Jimmy's hands. They won. Can they do that? If they can do that, Niners are in big trouble, because they're not going to win with Jimmy's arm in the playoffs. They've never done that before. They've won by running the ball in the playoffs, and that's what they have to do against Dallas.
They have to stick with it. That's the most important thing. They have to realize that they can wear down. If Trent Williams plays, especially if he plays, they can wear down this Dallas Cowboys defense. I really don't think that they match up physically with Deebo Samuel, Elijah Mitchell, Trent Williams, George Kittle. Parsons is great, but everyone else there, I really think we can bully them out of the way if we stick to the run game. And it's one of those things where they have a loaded, when I say a loaded offense, they have Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb. They have all of these weapons at wide receiver. They have a decent tight end who's been developing as well. Nothing like George Kittle, but decent enough. Their wide receiver core is really good. I'm not the biggest fan of their run game. I think it's a bit overrated, but they're
better than the Rams run game, though.
It is. But I feel like the Niners really, with the exception of those 2 runs in the fourth quarter, I feel like the Niners run defense just smashed the Rams rushing offense. I was really impressed with that. That was one of the Fred Warner was flying around a little bit more. He was really sticking his nose in there. Jimmy Ward was coming up from safety and putting his shoulders in there. I feel like the Niners will be able to control this run game. But the key to our run game is to keep Dak Prescott on the sidelines. Aaron Rodgers, Dak Prescott, Tom Brady, all these guys who are capable of fourth quarter comebacks, explosive wide receivers, just keep them on the sideline. Take 9 minutes off the clock minimum every quarter.
Also, keep the ball out of the hands of Jimmy the Arsonist. I mean, his TD to INT ratio the last 2 games is 1-2. You can't win this way consistently. He's going to set fires all over the field, and he's not going to be able to put them all out. That's his new name until he stops throwing 2 picks a game, Jimmy the Arsonist. And how do you keep him from, burning down your chances to win? Hand off. Keep handing off. And again, if Dan Quinn knows that, Dan Quinn knows that to beat Kyle Shanahan, you have to stop his run game. He essentially did it 2 years ago with a terrible team. Now he's got a much better defense. Curious to see we'll see it in the first quarter. If the Niners can't run the ball, they're in trouble. If they can, they'll win. Simple as that.
And I also don't think Kyle Shanahan's going to shy away from some tricky pass plays. I think he's going to one of the things that Jimmy Garoppolo can do against this pass rush, and it's the reason why he might be a good answer to them even over Trey Lance, or the Trey Lance can extend plays That's where somebody like Trayvon Diggs begins to cue on the eyes of the quarterback, where Parsons begins to spy. And I think Trey Lance would have the most miserable game of his life if he played the Cowboys this time. Jimmy Garoppolo's quick release, that's going to be really important, because as good as Parsons is, and he has developed at an exponential rate, he's so good. But at the same time, I feel George Kittle can welcome him to the NFL. He's never faced someone like that. As much as Dan Quinn knows Kyle Shanahan is a far more cerebral human being. He's much smarter than Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn is a good coach and a leader, but he is not the cerebral brain case of Kyle Shanahan. If anyone was taking notes on the other, it's Kyle.
Jimmy needs to avoid Trayvon Diggs. It's as simple as that. Don't throw there. You have multiple. You don't have to go to Debo you can hand off to Debo. You can throw to your tight end. There's Ayuk. There's Jennings. There's so many ways to not throw at Diggs. Like against the Rams, they did a good job of not going at Ramsey until the fourth quarter when they forced the ball to Kittle, who was covered by Ramsey and got picked. You can avoid one corner when you have four weapons on offense. So that's what I would say to Jimmy. Like, don't do that. He will pick you off. Don't do that. Just saying. That's one concern.
Jawan Jennings and George Kittle could be real X factors in this past game.